environmentalist with a passion for endangered species, eco-theology, and in particular, helping the Australian Church to care for creation. She is the founder and director of the 5 Leaf Eco Awards. And Jessica is going to tell us a bit more about that and make some inaugural awards for our Presbytery today. Joining her is Tim Molyneux. Tim spent 4 years with the South Australian Presbytery and Synod, where he had a variety of roles, including social justice and international partnership. He's got an honours degree in hearing about how do we hear Indigenous voices within policy formation in Australia. And he's done a lot of work through arts, broadcasting, and in particular, he was treasurer of the Asbestos Disease Society of South Australia. So Tim comes to us with an enormous range of experiences. He's the social justice officer with Jim, and she came with the Justice International Mission, and he came to Australia or to Melbourne in 2019. So I'm very happy to welcome both Jessica and Tim to our meeting and ask Jessica to tell us about the 5 Leaf Eco Awards and do some awarding for us. Thank you, Jessica.
Hi, everyone. It's really lovely to be here with you today to celebrate in my role as the director of the 5 Leaf Eco Awards and to present these awards. I'd like to start with just a little bit of background about the awards. So the 5 Leaf Eco Awards are a national ecumenical environmental change program that I founded in 2008 in Melbourne as part of my conviction that God is calling the church to do much more for the earth and its creatures. I was inspired by programs like Eco Congregation in the UK and the Green Faith program in the US, where the church greening movement is much more established than in Australia. But we're getting pretty good these days. We've grown a lot since I started the awards. So the awards are non-competitive. They're criteria based. So all you need to do to win one is just tick off all of the boxes for the criteria. There are 6 awards available at the moment. The awards are covering these 5 different areas. This is why it's called 5 Leaf, 5 leaves or areas. So buildings, worship, congregation, outreach, and community leadership. And so the first award in the program is the Basic Certificate. And basically this is our introductory award, and it asks you to do a little bit in all of these areas. And so we've got a couple of basic certificates to give away today. And I'm very excited to have 3 churches to present awards to today. And I'd like to begin with St. Luke's, Mount Waverley. So St. Luke's congregation is very concerned about environmental issues. They attend marches, conferences, and protests to further action on climate change. Recently, they held a Zoom climate conference where scientists, local government leaders, and parishioners devised strategies for moving ahead. Among other things, they have a water tank, energy efficient lighting and heating, and they've upgraded their kitchen to be as energy efficient as possible and to save water. They participate in the Season of Creation every year, have outdoor worship and blessing of the animals services, and they gather silver paper, corks, bottle tops, tags, and stamps for special recycling. They're keen to do much more for the environment in coming years, but their dedication is clear. And so I'm proud to recognise them today for what they've achieved so far with this presentation of the 5 Leaf Eco Awards Basic Certificate and Eco Worship Award. Tony Lucas is here to accept these awards on behalf of the congregation. So I'm going to pass the awards through the screen. Tony, if you'd like to hold up, there we go. There's your basic certificate and your Eco Worship Award. So people, would you like to take yourselves off mute for a second so that we can applaud this wonderful achievement? Congratulations, St Luke's Mount Waverley.
Jessica, may I thank you for your work and your encouragement through this award. I'm looking forward to taking these certificates to the congregation whenever possible, and we'll be renewing our endeavours to do more for the environment and to save energy. Thank you very much for these certificates. I much appreciate that the frames are made of recycled timber from a fence somewhere. And thank you again. Thanks to the committee and to the Presbytery. Thank you for your encouragement.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tony. Our next awardee is a church very close to my heart. Way back in 2009, just after I'd founded the Five Leaf Eco Awards, Port Melbourne Uniting Church became the very first church in all of Australia to receive one of our awards for the amazing work that they were doing. But they didn't stop being wonderful then. They've been doing even more for the environment since, including installing solar panels, energy efficient lighting and water tanks, and particularly through their Simply Living garden and its many activities that support the local community to grow their sustainability journeys. You really should check out their garden if you can. It's a community garden in the truest sense, with preschool sessions, community compost bays, a community seed exchange, community cooking sessions with garden produce, make and mend, garage sales, workshops, talks, and more. The wonderful Janet Hoa has been working with Port Melbourne since they received their first award. And I've asked her to share a little bit about what that award meant to Port Melbourne and how it has influenced their journey since. Janet.
Well, thanks, Jessica, and thank you for reaffirming our award, which, can I show the certificate?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Australia Post hasn't delivered our framed one yet, so this is just the copy of it. So we often refer to our sustainability project in terms of seeds and connections, and receiving this award is just another way of watering the seeds and helping us to grow. So back in 2007, we had a seed of an idea, and that grew into turning the garden you can see on the screen. If you can imagine just a dusty car park with some spongy grass, and there's actually a driveway that circles those veggie beds. That was what we started with back then. And it was the middle of the drought, and we decided to grow a community garden with no mains water. So we took a leap of faith. But this garden is now totally a part of our local community, and it brings in so many people that we connect with that we wouldn't have otherwise connected with. So we started a project that was to challenge ourselves as a Christian community to live more sustainably in the inner city. So, and we saw connecting with our community as a really, really important part of living sustainably. So through our journey, as we've watered seeds of hope as well as literally seeds in the ground, we've connected with a huge number of people in our community, from the local kinder to the schools to the health service, community groups, beach patrol, our local council. We're now working in a project with our local council called Smart Solutions for Community Services, and through that we've done our solar panels and upgraded our lighting and all those sorts of internal things. And along the way, we've challenged ourselves to live more lightly ourselves, to care for the creation and community, upgraded our wildlife habitat in our garden, done recycling ourselves, challenged ourselves for how each of us live in our own lives. And we also support overseas. We have a mission project with students in Timor-Leste to help them gain the skills to make their own community more sustainable. And we've also partnered with the local churches in our community. You can see my climate change scarf. So this was part of the Christians Together for Climate project. And we recently, a group of us from the different churches met with our local MP. So I could talk for ages about all the things that we've done over the years, the seeds that we've watered that haven't grown, the ones that have grown, and the ones that we've sort of cut back and changed direction. But thank you again for reaffirming this award so that it gives us a bit of a watering to take on the next step of our ongoing journey. So thank you.
Thanks, Janet, and congratulations to Port Melbourne for all your hard work and for setting an example for other churches in everything you do, and by being our first Five Leaf Eco Awards awardee and our first church being recognised with a reaffirmation of that award. And I'd also like to honour all of the hard work that Janet herself has put into helping Port Melbourne to achieve all of this. It's been an amazing effort. Thank you. So I'd invite you all to applaud. Congratulations, Port Melbourne. And finally, I would like to recognise Glen Waverley Uniting Church. Back in 2014, Glen Waverley installed a 30 kilowatt solar system on their roof. They also have solar panels on one of their manses and solar hot water on 2. They have an active environmental group and have engaged their congregation with carbon footprint calculators and viewings of the Story of Stuff videos. They write letters for climate action and work to save water. Years ago, when An Inconvenient Truth came out, they had over 200 people attend a showing held by the church. At their last church fete, they had a greenhouse set up with a display about what they were doing for the environment as part of their larger church information section. And they found that the thing that their community was most interested in was what they were doing for the environment. Their youth and young adults have also always been passionate about the environment, and they have initiated multiple campaigns and programs, such as trying to avoid plastic bags. Glen Waverley have also been keen to allow their own experience and savings with their solar panels to inspire other churches, and have offered tours and access to their costings and savings to other churches in order to help them to also make the switch to solar. So today I'd like to recognise their efforts with our Basic Certificate Award, and Reverend Neil Peters will be accepting on behalf of the congregation. Congratulations, Glen Waverley Uniting.
Thanks, Jessica. I've got the award here, and I'm delighted to receive it on behalf of the congregation, and especially for those who have really worked hard at driving change in our congregation and in our community, from the younger members and to older members, but there's been people who have really worked hard to make the changes possible here. So thank you for the award.
Yeah.
Thanks, Neil. So that's all of our awards for today, but several other churches who filled out our survey were only 1 or 2 criteria away from an award. So I hope that this has really encouraged you to keep working to care for God's creation and to finish off your awards. And for everyone else, please fill out our survey and find out how close you are to an award. You might be surprised. And in case you need a little bit more inspiration, I've got a little bit of time to share with you just a few more slides about what some churches all around Australia are doing for the environment. So we have lots of churches doing environment themed worship, and hopefully you know that the season of creation is coming up soon in September. And this is a wonderful time to bring the environment into the center of our worship in church. And different congregations have found really creative ways of bringing nature into their services or taking their services out into nature. We've got lots of churches working to save water. Of course, there's water tanks, but we've even had churches involved in experimental technologies like bladder tanks and helping to develop new ways of saving water. We've got churches working to reduce waste, all sorts of ways. And the Port Melbourne Skills Fest is an example that I often tell people about because it's a great way of bringing together people with skills and people who would like to learn things. And that's another really fantastic way to reduce our waste. So that's a great idea. And also St. Luke's Uniting Church in Geelong, they have this incredible repair cafe that they hold every month. And basically you can bring anything that is broken, whether it's clothing, toys, electronic gear, and they will teach you how to fix those things so that you don't have to just buy a new one. This is Swanview Uniting Church in Western Australia. This is one of many awesome community gardens, but what's particularly special about this one is that every single bed is recycled. So the painted beds that you can see are actually old fridges. And they also collect green waste from their local community. We've also got lots of churches working to save energy and CO2. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Solar panels are great, but they're not the only thing that you can do. It can be as simple as using a lap rug in church rather than turning the heaters on. We've also got churches switching to green power. So again, if solar panels are maybe not something that's within reach for your church, then you can actually purchase renewable energy through your energy supplier. This is Pitt Street Uniting Church in Sydney. As a heritage building that's overshadowed by a whole bunch of much taller buildings, they weren't able to do solar panels, but they could do green power. But we do have lots of churches also, of course, who have gone with solar. This one is Wesley Uniting Church in the city in Perth. And this is actually the largest solar panel installation in the entire Perth CBD that they've chosen to put on their roof as a witness to their care for the environment. We also have many churches with solar crosses, a way of expressing both love for the environment and love for God. And Tacoma Uniting Church has a little slogan, powered by the sun, SUN/SON, which I think is kind of cute. We've got churches working to restore their local ecosystems. So doing things like tree planting and using it as a way to build relationships between different generations and in this case, different congregations. So sometimes you can achieve other goals while also helping the environment. And we've got, this is Charlestown Anglican Parish in New South Wales. And they had this gully next door to their church that was full of weeds and really not very well cared for. So they put in a lot of work to restore it. And now it looks like this. And we've got lots of churches leading the way in different ways. This is the food co-op at Brunswick Uniting Church, making sustainable food accessible and affordable for their local community. This is St. John's Cathedral in Brisbane, your classic kind of soaring, beautiful cathedral, but at the back they have their chickens, their bees and their worms. Muruburu Junction Uniting Church took a whole bunch of awesome initiatives and also wanted to inspire others, so they put together a DVD for other churches. St. Saviour's Anglican Church in Boyart Brook. This is a tiny little congregation in rural Western Australia, but they brought together their entire community and all of the people who were doing anything with land or sustainability so that they could learn from each other and continue that journey. The Christian Students Uniting Climate Fest was inspired by Port Melbourne's Skillshare. This was like an online version. So the students made little videos of different skills that they had, and then shared them on Facebook Live so that people could learn from them. St. Margaret's Uniting Church and Holy Cross Anglican Church, a joint congregation, are working on becoming carbon neutral. And we've got lots of churches doing climate advocacy in different ways as well, including this was an officially supported New South Wales ACT Synod initiative supporting the school strike for climate. And that's our very recently ex-president of the Uniting Church in Australia, Deirdre Palmer, at the most recent climate strike. Janet mentioned this awesome project with the scarves. And we've got lots and lots of community gardens all around Australia. They're all different, they all reflect their communities, but the amazing thing that they do is bring people together and often really help with isolation. So one of the people from these gardens told me that she believes that garden has saved at least 5 lives by decreasing the isolation and giving people connection. So together we are all greening the church. If you'd like to find out more information, that's our website. And please all go and fill your survey on our website so that I can find out about all of the awesome